All right, so I'm so excited and welcoming of you to join me today. And in this process, and while joining me, we are going to enjoy the new moon in Cancer, the mother daughter's moon, and we're going to build a little bit of an altar together. So I've laid down my fabric of choice today. For me, this needs to be a full chakra experience. So Ashe, and we are going to bring ourselves to a bit of an increased awareness and awakening within ourselves and come to that with a collective experience. There is truth to be sought, truth to be found and enjoyed. I do have 2 books and I have some gems, some things I love to build my altar with. So I found that bell at a garage sale. That's important to me. I have some gems here. I have my pendulum. So, favorite thing I love about a pendulum. We're going to use these wind chimes as well as a pendulum that are in our video. And I'm just really excited because with you and your participation here, we are going to get recorded and have for future content in the ethers of YouTube, some content for the new moon in Cancer. I have here, so some decks that I have the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. So this is an Oracle deck. This is a Chakra Oracle deck. This is, I'm going to take out of my little container. This is my Game of Thrones tarot deck. And here I have my Disney villains, and I do have the book for the Disney villains, and I have the book for the Wisdom of the Oracle. These 4 different cards are going to make up our 4-card reading today. And that information, I have my cheat sheet for my tarot, so I don't want anyone to be like, oh, you think you have everything. No, I definitely still use a reference. I love and may feel called to use any numbers that come up between this and my deck. I actually lost, which I'm so upset, my runes. I lost my runes, but I still have my deck of information I did, and then I have the 4 agreements. I have wisdoms from the 4 agreements. I have a chest set. I have a selenite. I have a kyanite from my friend Teresa with Intention. I have an amethyst elephant. That's always to face the door. We'll have him face the door, and we'll have her exalting into the home space. And then I have these. Can you hear them? And there are meditation balls, and you hear them. They do have like bells inside, but the goal is to be able to rotate them and maybe hear the bells jingle, but not tap the balls together. So today I was thinking about, ironically for me, I'm left-handed, but I'm better at this with my right hand. So I'll be utilizing this as a grounding and channeling process. I have a rose quartz heart-shaped piece. And we have some chakras, and I like to put them on her neck. Just some different bracelets that I have. And I have my tiger's eye piece. Yeah. Cool. So getting started, I would love to read to you the information from the book that I meant to show you. This is well broken in. This is the Moon Phase Astrology by Raven Caldera And I take this information and knowledge about each of the moon phases. So the lunar key to your destiny, each moon phase, which there are 8 of them, go through all 12 of the signs, which is really beautiful because we get to experience our personal moon sign 8 times. So through 8 different phases and specifically focusing on your moon phase. So we are in the new moon in Cancer. And the new moon in Cancer is the mother-daughter moon. The new moon in Cancer starts very much like the beginning of the myth of Persephone and her daughter Demeter. Persephone is the young girl who was undifferentiated from her mother, indeed, in that the myth father is not even present, and the mother-daughter dyad is tightly knit to the point where the daughter has not yet developed her own identity. She lives in a happy world until the time when she has to learn to differentiate herself, and then everything blows up and goes to Hades, quite literally. The same-sex dyad of mother-daughter is very hard for Persephone to break away from, and in order to do so, she must rebel against her mother in a big way. Indeed, the rebellion would hardly have been possible at all without being swept away by Hades. Some sources say against her will, and some say otherwise. While sons have to break away from their mothers, and that archetype will be explored next, there is a peculiar difficulty in being socially trained in the same role as one's likely first and primary caretaker, and then having to differentiate oneself against that tide. Since conflict with family members is always incredibly painful for people born under any phase of the Cancer moon, one can imagine that the trauma of being set up for this is a repeated karmic lesson. The mother-daughters must strike a balance between her need to be cared for in that same-sex dyad. Persephone spends half the year with her mother even after her marriage, and her desire to put energy into the rest of her life. On the mother-daughter's moon, we examine our relationship with others, especially those in which one person nurtures another. We also examine our early nurturing and our same-sex bonds. If you don't have any, that's certainly something to examine. We may also examine the issue of differentiating oneself from the same-sex parent, which usually happens in adolescence, as with Persephone, but sometimes waits until well into adulthood. This is a good time for those who need a rite of passage to plan or carry that out. Those born under the mother-daughter's moon are deeply affected emotionally by the people they are close to, and they often have trouble discerning the emotional boundaries between themselves and those they love. This is not the Pisces problem of having trouble defending boundaries against anyone, including store clerks and gas station attendants. Cancerians are quite able to slam their shell against people who are not family or the beloved. Generally, they will defer for a long time, submerging resentment until this blow up, which, considering Cancerian levels of emotion and considering that is a good chance they will be a double Cancer, will be significant. While people's choice of lovers is a complicated thing and not dependent simply on the moon, Venus and Mars and the entire contents of one's 7th house have a lot to say about it too. I have noticed a few repeating trends that with people born under this moon. I've observed that heterosexual women born under the mother-daughter moon tend to have male lovers with whom they share physical intimacy, but they can't confide in, and they have close female friends with whom they share emotional intimacy, thus recreating the mother-daughter bond, although either woman could be mother or daughter, and indeed, they sometimes switch roles back and forth. This somehow echoes the myth of Persephone being carried off by Hades. The one exception I've seen was a woman who was married to a man reminded her strongly of her mother. People I've met born under this moon who were in the same-sex relationship, whether male or female, tended to end up in situations that looked very much like the tight parent-child relationship of Demeter and Persephone in many ways, one person nurturing the other who was always sometimes needier or wounded. When I've met heterosexual men with this moon, well, one was very feminine man with a caretaking wife, but the rest were protective, caretaking men with women who were younger or less emotionally mature. One such woman even called her partner daddy. It was as if the men identified with Demeter and married Persephone. In general, men with this moon may well have been closer to their mothers than their fathers, but in a camaraderie way rather than a mommy's little boy, perhaps, because the mother themselves were not terribly maternal or feminine people. Like those born on the mother sun's moon, the crescent moon in Cancer, childhood experiences are particularly marking for these people, and they may spend many years working out subtle nuances that might just brush by those less vulnerable to the emotions of their loved ones. Verbalizing their emotions is not easy for them, and loved ones should be patient with their need to verbally process in small portions. Quotes for the mother daughter's moon. If I nurture the newness while I have it, perhaps I won't lose it, at least not for something less. And if I nurture what I keep, perhaps I won't miss what I've lost. We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. My mom is a never-ending song in my heart of comfort, happiness, and being. I may sometimes forget the words, but I always remember the tune. Mother is the name for God in the lips of and hearts of little children. A little girl asked where her home was. She replied, where mother is. Mothers and daughters are closest when daughters become mothers. He that would the daughter win must the mother first begin. The woman who bore me is no longer alive, but I seem to be her daughter in increasingly profound ways. No river may return to its source, but all rivers must have a beginning. Oh, I love that. The Demeter Persephone narrative is complex. The myth hinges on the violence of young women's sexual initiation, the wrenching separation from the protective mother, social realities of many women's lives under male domination. Ooh, that is a little heavy. So in this mother-daughter's moon, some main themes that we are covering and finding, and finding some connections with. So some things that I like to include: journal prompts and tarot prompts in each moon's phase. And for this moon's phase, we are there we go, we are going to discuss the journal prompts. So what qualities are you like in your same-sex parent? So what qualities are you like if you are woman, identify as woman, your same-sex parent as your mom, or if you are a man with your father? What qualities are you like in your same-sex parent? I would definitely say when I want to be the center of attention and light up a room, I absolutely can, and I enjoy it, and I'm entertaining. So that's one thing I definitely say I'm like my mother in. Emotional boundaries and discernment. So in this, take this next prompt just in general. So that is actually a 3-word prompt: emotional boundaries, comma, discernment. And that is one that can really, for me, I'm very proud of myself. I just have to say, let's play a little sound bowls in between when it gets a little heavy. It's important for me to be sharing in this moon because this is honestly a really triggering topic for me in that aspect. So emotional boundaries, I am actively participating with boundaries, with intention, with sanctuary in my growth and exploration, but also holding space that this is vulnerable. So knowing that aspect and discernment, and knowing that, and also knowing like I'm not gonna be on here snotting. If overall my day wasn't well, I wouldn't be here doing this. So that's where the discernment comes in. How can I differentiate myself from the same-sex parent? For me, I would say the use of the apology love languages, the retribution love languages, I believe I read them as. The use of that and really understanding that especially as a parent. I think that's most important. It's a beautiful thing in all relationships to know and to be able to honor and move forward together and still have a relationship when things aren't seen eye to eye, because I also find it weird when you agree with everything that the people around you do, or even if you have everyone fully agreeing. I don't want to say everyone against you, but you definitely want to have some variety and some point of view if you're looking for that. And I think being able to navigate that is important. So with that, how you interact with them in regards to moving forward for those difficult conversations in those spaces, and I'm thinking about in parenting in general, I think that that space and that use and that knowledge base is important, because knowing how when you let people down, and that's bound to happen in parenting and a parent-child dynamic, and even potentially in your friendships, your intention behind it, your plan to move forward is also all very unique based on the person who was caught in the crossfire. So that aspect. So that's something that I'm continuing to differentiate myself and putting effort where those relationships matter. How can I grow verbalizing my emotions? I continue to grow by utilizing silence. When I am verbalizing my emotions, specifically the high energy ones, I have no problem verbalizing that. I need to revert to silence and to a different way of expression, because words are lasting, and the tongue sometimes is the sharpest sword, and people, those wounds heal different than literal physical wounds. So I think that's important to honor and acknowledge. Again, reflecting on some information or like notes and quotes from this time. We experience things as we are, not as they are. This energy is tightly knit. You want to have that balance of tightly knit energy and enmeshed, codependent. You don't want to get to that point. But you want to have a level of respect, of loyalty, and consideration that definitely plays a part in connections. If the mother-daughter, if that personally identifies and you connect so much with this moon, you want to continue to identify an identity outside of your mother, and one that may not be present or developed yet. The intention of generations is to push forward the oncoming generation, which is you, to then push forward after, if that is your plan in life. You can plan out your rite of passage here. It's a beautiful time to do so. And even if that is just a honoring, if you have lost either a healthy connection with your mother or an earthside connection, you can honor and venerate that, as well as including that in your ritual and ceremony, and including that as your rite of passage. It's a beautiful way to connect, and it's one that you should explore if needed. I'm going to take my own advice and curate some inner child, specifically based on mother-daughter energy, and I'm going to do it under this moon, which is the point and focus of these intended theme moon phases to go over and discuss. So again, we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. So allow yourself the grace, the space, and the honor to reflect. Let's talk a little bit about some of the moon phases. So we are in new moon. New moon, again, is when there is no illumination on the moon. You may still see the outline. You may still see kind of like the shadow, but there's no real light right now. There's no light at night outside of the stars. And we have to remember that we are worthy of the rest that this time calls for. We are worthy of the newness. We are worthy of the planful intention and space holding so that growth can come from where we are and where we continue to nurture. So in this space, this Cancer, this water energy, we are going to begin with the water elements, and we're going to do an elemental card reading. It's kind of where I'm at with intuitive tea and where I'd like to bring, but fun fact, we're going to pull out all the cards. So that card definitely wants to be part of that, but we're still going to shuffle. I'm going to pull out all the cards for all the readings so we don't have any doubles. So we're going to do water, fire, air, earth. Water. Spirit, please share with us. That is intended for the new moon in Cancer for the water element signs. Water element signs, please Spirit provide us messages and clues for how to navigate this space, this time, this energy, this opportunity. I'm going to continue to be about that because, yay, thank you. We are in water signs right now, and we are pulling cards for that. I'm going to just keep on flowing. So water, now we're going to pull for fire, and we're just going to, damn, these cards just is jumping out for the Game of Thrones cards. Really got something to say. Whoa, you see this? Thanks, Steve. We got some messages here. A spirit for a fire element. What do we have going on here for Cancer season? There's that. Spirit for fire element. What do we have for Cancer season here? Okay. Next, we have the Disney Villains Tarot. Do we have for the fire signs? Do we have for the fire signs? Okay. And lastly, Spirit, what do we got for fire signs? And then I have questions too for each of the each of the cards. So each card will answer one question. Okay, thank you. Let me shuffle out. Next we have the air element. I have my candle here. I have mad shit I meant to still put up here. My bad, y'all. Well, obviously I'm sitting in my little garden. Then I got a candle over here. I got my crystal ball. This is for air elements, which popped out already. And then we have air elements. We're going to continue to let the shuffle. And we have air elements for That's a lot of cards. We're going to keep on. Air elements for the Cancer season. Lastly, air elements, and then we will have earth element. I'm sorry. Water. I was doing them in the Avatar order. Sorry, I'm supposed to do them in a different order, but that's okay. We were filling it. I was actually doing them in chakra order, so that's okay. Okay. Lastly, earth elements. So we got water, fire, air, earth. Spirit message for the earth summons. Spirit, please. Some message from the earth summons. Message for the earth summons. Message for the earth summons. Alright, there's that. A couple cards there. Last name. Oh, there we go. All right. So, in review, the 4 questions that we have coming up are, the first one is submerging resentment. The next is divine feminine intimacy. The third is where we need nurturing. And the fourth is where we need to differentiate. So again, submerging resentment, divine feminine intimacy, where we need to nurture, where we need nurturing, and where we need to differentiate. So for our water signs, we got the following cards for submerging resentment. We have judgment. We have the judgment card, which is the Ice King, and we have the 7 of Coins. So where we have submerging resentment, the fact that this, to me, now this is for water signs, the fact that it's Ice King just gives an iceberg. It's giving, you have discussed, but really have only touched the tip of the iceberg of where you are holding resentment, and submerging you and who you are and how you flow is drowning in your judgment. You really haven't let it go. That's why it's resentment, and it is of energy that you need to let it go. The judgment card actually acknowledges rebirth, a new phase, and an inner calling. But if we don't work on this shit truly, you can't release from it. And it's important to do so. This, to me, though, submerging resentment in regards to mother-daughter for the water elements is, I'm inviting you to step out from a victim's place in this thought process, in one where the judgment is for future correction and betterment. So bring that into the rebirth, into the newness, bring that into the desires of your connections with your elder women or with your mother. And also we have the 7 of Coins, and 7 of Coins has to do with patience and seeds to fruit. That journey, you don't want to do it in judgment, because then fruits of judgment will grow versus fruits of grace, fruits of your labor. So really allow that work to get done, but allow it to come from a place that is deep, and acknowledge this in the safe space. Acknowledge it within a safe space. Divine feminine intimacy. Now, this is your service card. This service card has to do with the sacral chakra. That has to do with your connections, your creativity. So either where you have deep and strong connections, or where you share, when you share what you are creative about energetically, it blesses others in service. Please do so and continue to do so. For where we need nurturing, we have the Hierophant, which has to do with traditions, society, and rules. This is where we need nurturing. So this is where that judgment and that submerging resentment is coming to the surface. And you really have to nurture that. You don't need to double down hard on yourself. You need to really hold so that you can give yourself grace. We have King of Swords. King of Swords is controlling but rational. This, to me, ironic of that, controlling but rational. It makes sense now that we've seen Mufasa. It makes sense why Scar moved how he moved, but don't make it okay. So also be mindful of where we need nurturing, to not go to those places and spaces where you know will pacify your bullshit rather than where it will nurture you and allow you to be vulnerable, where it's not coming from manipulation, and to be able to grow from there. Then we have the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is in regards to indecision, where we need nurturing. Allow your heart space to decide, and allow that indecision on where you need nurturing to be decided by your heart space, because your armor really has to come off. And that's where the manipulation can't be at play, because your armor really has to come off. You can't have access to tools of war when we are moving and coming from a space and flow of love. Ashe. We also have the Knight of Wands, and the Knight of Wands has to do with the risk taker. It is always and absolutely a risk to remove your honor, to get vulnerable, to embark in this reciprocal nurturing exchange and being the one that's in of need. It's absolutely a risk. It is absolutely a vulnerable space, but you are worth it. You deserve that energy, and giving yourself that gives you a leg up. Whether this, my water element babes, whether this is literally happening where you are being loved on again and you get to explore from a healed inner child space of growth, where we need to differentiate. You can make this for yourself. So this being where we need to differentiate, it does not have to be with your little parents, and that is okay if it's not. But where you are worthy of is still accentuating the need for this time and space to be honored. So that is our water elements. Thank you so much for your share. I'm just going to cleanse the space, do a little sound for them babes, because that's some heavy energy, and we're all worthy of like the grace and the space. And also, like, I'm going to clear it of being triggered. So it's important that we're here together, and I'm grateful, because if we weren't, some of us might not realize what this moon's energy and why. But as I was doing the summer solstice reading the other day, I was like, it's my party. I can cry if I want to. And that's big on the Cancer energy, and that's okay. Just do those, that share of your emotions in a safe space, please, for you. You deserve it. You're worthy of it. Stay blessed. So we use that sound back, kind of like a reset, which I don't think I've done before. I don't think I've brought sound to like reset between the readings, but I like it and I'll be doing more of that moving forward. I would like to share this with some babes. Give me a second. And we're about to get to the next. We're going to do the fire elements. Fire element reading. Is it wrong that I want a cookie? I want a cookie. I feel like I deserve a cookie. I deserve a cookie. We're gonna take a mini break. So we did our water sign. Thank y'all. Reading takes so much out of me. I need a cookie. It takes so much out of me. I need a cookie. Just a bite. My spiritual sugar is low. Check my spiritual vitals. I think it's healed. I think it's healed. Because what? Yeah. I'm so excited, guys. Thank you so much. We're now on to the fire elements. And the way I felt like I had more Cancer in my chart than I do, I'm a little bit nervous about the fire element, okay? Also, let me take a segue. If anyone, I love the gifts, but I also love the fan lotteries. The share, preferably, don't waste nothing. 50, 10 minutes, 2 winners. May the odds be ever in your favor. Also, I do personal readings on the side. Oh, that crack was good. I should have put that on my back before I cracked. Oh my God. Okay. So for our first question, we have submerging resentment. Now this is the fire element. Submerging element of submerging resentment for the fire element. We have the Empress, and that is Daenerys. And let's just say, if we know anything about submerging resentment, we have resentments that are in the forefront, we have resentments that are in the ethers, and we're in a feminine energy archetype vibe right now in Cancer season with this new moon in Cancer. And then we got like mirror, mirror on the wall, who's like the most feminine and the energy of them all, and we got the Empress. The depiction of it being Daenerys reminds us that we too can be a mad queen. So please be mindful. Our energy here is reminding us to tap in regarding submerging resentment, abundance, nurturing, fertility, and bloom. The shit gotta come up so it could be turned into fertilizer, okay? I'm saying this because we all have dragons within us. Oh, my fellow fire fairies, we have dragons within us, and we really can turn up and where we stand on the principle of things, and when it's on principle but the violation still occurs and any other metric is felt the need to involve itself, the resentment that comes of the lack of understanding that gets lost in translation, vibrationally, IQ wise, all of the above. Crazy because we have this depiction now. Another whole energy that took it into their own hands. We can't allow that taken into our own hands turn us into burn the city down as well as take it over from within. We really have to we have to honor that balance, because as above, so below, what we allow to show, so much more can continue to flow. We have to, in fullness, flow through everything that has to do with resentment, because if we pack in our tucking down, so something being submerged is underneath, underwater. We don't really got water going on when it comes to fire. Closest thing we got is lava, and that destroys everything. So you really don't have anywhere to submerge the resentment. So work with it, work through it, create boundaries but don't allow yourself to be disregarded. That's important. And then we have Page of Swords. Page of Swords has to do with act without thinking. Submerging resentment. We don't want to act without thinking. That was a great read without even looking up what the card meant. I stand firm on what it is that I shared. Next, we have Divine Feminine Intimacy. Now I love this for you. The story behind this acorn, and we have a dragon here, so I don't have the book with me. The dragon's lazy, the squirrel's not. So to take this dragon energy where our submerging resentment is, and then assuming that we will find safety and solace after we have burned everything down is not realistic. So the divine feminine intimacy is that in this mother, daughters, moon, this highly feminine energy where we're identifying ourselves, we need not behave and move in ways in regards to where we are hurt, in the ways that we have witnessed, but moving, because then we're a victim of that. We are moving in heart space, heart open, and we are the victor. I think that's important. Divine feminine intimacy, the victor of that, because we don't have to maintain this warrior spirit. We can be soft and beautiful, and we deserve that. Can you send me a gift? Next, we have where we need nurturing. Oh no, that's the last one, excuse me. We have the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords has to do with heartbreak. So where our heart's been broken, I can personally say in this mother, daughter, moon space, any place, and this goes out to all elements. I feel like shout out to you if you sit through and listen to everything, but definitely tuning in and honoring that where the mother, daughter energy that this moon, these messages are for everyone. It's okay to acknowledge that your heart has been broken in this space, but not playing the victim. Let's tune back in with that. And it's okay to need time to explore within that before the consideration of another elder maternal figure comes in to heal that back. We have so many opportunities to mother ourselves, to be nurtured by others, to honor in that, and it's okay, because in the same way where we need our own healing, most of the maternal elder influences got a lot of shit that they need to work on that I personally, in my like sacred vulnerable space, do not want to be subject to their abuse. And I'm just gonna say that. So that's where I'm taking that as. It's okay to have heartbreak with that, but it's also absolutely okay to not continue to keep breaking your heart by trying to that message just pissed me clean off. We're just going to keep moving forward. We have the Magician. The Magician regards to action, the power to manifest. This being and coming up in the cards. Hold on one second, guys. This coming up with the cards where we need nurturing. The Magician coming up, power to manifest in action where we need nurturing. It is, I can see how and why from experience where the beauty that could be the garden of a mother-daughter relationship isn't tended to, tilled, and worked on equally, that there is no harvest, there is no bloom. So where the call to action, the power to manifest, that root system, that support system isn't quite there. It's all from this generation. So that takes a lot. And eventually that work and that nurturing does benefit you. It does allow for your growth and your bloom, but it's just different. So it's okay to mourn where you weren't supported. You may see others, but also know when there is closeness and like juxtaposition, which means next to you, there is the things that you desire happening. Be happy because it's getting closer and closer to you. But next we have King of Coins, King of Pentacles, financially secure, where you need nurturing, your financial security, the heart space, the connection space, the grounded energy that finances requires for growth to happen. Nurture that. This is a great time to do so. Water energy, water it. We have the 10 of Wands. We have responsibilities where you need nurturing. Your responsibilities needs nurturing, and that's okay. Ask for help, ask for support where needed, and grow and flow with that, because all of this nurturing, all of this tending to is attention, time, and energy that allows for you to grow. And then lastly, we have the Four of Swords, and the Four of Swords means meditation. The Four of Swords, where you need to nurture, is meditation. And that's okay. It's a beautiful thing to be told it's time to sit and meditate, because messages are begging to be gifted to you, to be given to you, and you are worthy of receiving those, and to be in a place where you're planful enough to receive and log them. Where we need to differentiate, fire fairies, milk and honey. Milk and honey is where we need to differentiate, and by the book. I would say milk and honey. So where we need to differentiate is our nourishment and nourishment to self, by the book. Self-love, tending to, and just acting in feminine energy. It's always, I don't think it's always acknowledged in fire's energy to say that it's feminine. So show where, she's a fairy, but she's fire, Let me go get the yellow sound ball for the fire fairies. She's a fatty. Yeah, yeah. She's a fatty. Yeah, yeah. She's a fatty. All right, let's see. Oh my god, it's so excited. No. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, that's so exciting. Okay.
I can hear it when it's on your shirt.
On this side of my shirt. for the air signs. We only have 5 cards total, so this reading will be direct to the point, but ever full, I'm sure. New moon in Cancer for the air gods. We have submerging resentment. 9 of Swords. This is Ghost in a Crate. Overactive mind and anxiety. Submerging resentment, anxiety. Your submerging resentment, when coming out, starts in a place of anxiety because of a previous experience. Now, please note, space definitely needs to be held, but there is a fine line of anticipatory anxiety, anxiety from triggers and or situations that remind you of previous situations that went sour or bad. You will bring that to fruition if you participate in that. So the journey and assignment for your submerging resentment is to flip the script, flip the dialogue, flip the voice that is speaking it wants you to succeed, but it eventually sabotages. So that self-sabotage that comes with this emerging resentment, please note that there's opportunity to work there. Next, we have our divine feminine intimacy. This has to do with a facade. This is your solar plexus. This is your fire space. So divine feminine intimacy, having facade there means we really have to dig deeper into the inner child work, specifically in the maternal realm, but also the feminine intimacy that you participate with the divine. The facade means it's not deep enough. So we got to go a little deeper and explore. Tuning into Orisha, I feel like would be great here. Next, we have where we need nurturing. We have the Chariot and the 3 of Wands. The Chariot stands for movement, progress, integration, where we need nurturing, so where we need to integrate these energies, and 3 of Wands is reaping the awards. When we integrate these energies, we reap the rewards. You are worthy of them. Where you need nurturing, this is important because the hard work that you do will pay off. It is bound to pay off, and nurturing the nature of you shifts the outpour and the overflow of your abundance. And then we have where we need to differentiate. There's no place like home. Home is most definitely where it is safe, it is sanctified, and it is glorious for you. And there being no place like home, ensuring that that is shifted from the home that you grew up with. This being a mother-daughter's realm, acknowledging that you are worthy of everything your inner child needed, as well as what you need and what the divine, feminine energy calls it asks of you during this time for this is beautifully important. So we're going to get back to a little more sound because please note. I feel like some 4 agreements because let's see where we open up. Right here. If someone is not treating you with love and respect, it is a gift if they walk away from you. If that person doesn't walk away, you will surely endure many years of suffering with him or her. Walking away may hurt for a while, but your heart will eventually heal. Then you can choose what you really want. Write this agreement on paper and put it on your refrigerator to remind you all the time. Don't take anything personally. As you make a habit of not taking anything personally, you won't need to place your trust in what others do or say. You will only need to trust yourself to make responsible choices. Oh, that should eat. Let's tune into that a little more because what? Let's do one more from here. Often when you begin a relationship with someone you like, you only see what you want to see, and you deny there are things that you don't like about the person. You lie to yourself just to make yourself right and to justify why you like that person. Then you make assumptions, and one of the assumptions is, my love will change this person. But this is not true. Your love will not change anybody. If others change, it's because they want to change, not because you can change them. Let's say one day something happens between you and your partner and you get hurt. Suddenly you see in this person what you didn't want to see before, only now you have to justify your emotional pain by blaming the other person for your choices. Real love is accepting other people the way they are without trying to change them. If we try to change them, this means we really don't like them. If you decide to live with someone, it is always better to make that agreement with someone who is exactly the way you want him or her to be. It is much easier to find someone who you don't have it to change than to try to change someone. Lastly, we have the earth sign, so the earth element in their reading. So I just want to clear some things off my screen so I can see. Hi, everyone. Welcome. So the first we have for our earth elements, we have submerging resentment, and we have the wheel of fortune. The wheel of fortune regards to cycles, changes, ups and downs. What goes around comes around. So submerging resentment, where you are holding and have heavy resentments, your turn too will come where will be on the receiving end of being what someone is resenting. So with that, balance and hold that in the space. Do you really want to deal with that? So deal and allow yours to be let go of and continue to move forward, because it will continue to be a triggering wound that can just be plucked. It's not worth it. Next, we have divine feminine intimacy. 3 cards came out: release, enlightenment, and completion. Divine feminine intimacy, release. This comes with the get you one, because it's important for all of us. Get us one. Divine feminine intimacy, enlightenment, to that point of include some sex magic in. It's a mantra work, it's a manifestation work, as well as to completion. Allow that to fully have been released for you and allow spirit to work with that. I think that is a great message and a beautiful time to do so. Where we need nurturing: Queen of Swords and Six of Swords. The Queen of Swords means communicative yet cold. This gives Queen Cane energy from sea. This gives, let us pray. If you know, then you know. Let us pray. Then we have the Six of Swords, leaving and going to better. Let us pray. And then we have flexible. Let us pray. When I say the waters of this new moon for the earth elements is asking you to let it go on some Elsa. Take that as it may. I'm going to play some sound bowls for you. I'm going to play the sacral chakra sound bowls, because this is what we need to be letting it pray. Let it go. Let it pray. Let us pray. Let me pray. It's time to pray. and the Queen Cane energy of us all to close out this session, this beauty, with a little bit of sound. If you like a reading, you can definitely hop in the box. It's a great space. Follow me on YouTube, Instagram. My YouTube handle is TC by Sienna Taylor. And my intuitive tea focused content on Instagram is intuitive.tea. Thank you for joining me.